First off, my apologies for my disheveled state. Not feeling too well, and obviously the hair is out of control, so hopefully that'll be fixed tomorrow or Thursday. At least before the weekend is what we're looking at right now. No idea what the vlog of randomness is going to be tomorrow. I guess stay tuned and you'll see what that is going to be. Let's talk about the go-home edition for NXT Rival of NXT. So we're going to talk about that to start with. Now, the show starts off with a matchup featuring the least popular member of the Jersey Trio, which is Carmella, taking on her opponent, this time being Emma, the return of Emma to the ring. Of course, obviously, Emma hasn't been in NXT in a minute, so needless to say, this is her chance at revenge, because Carmella beat Emma when Carmella was fresh in NXT. Now, the fans are chanting for Blue Pants, and Carmella gets one of the lines of the night and says, "Blue Pants went back to the clearance rack." I like this. I think that actually worked really well. Fans just don't buy into Carmella, it seems like. Obviously, Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy are over like Rover, and they're always going to be. Everyone knows that spiel by heart. But when it comes down to it, Carmella is the one that's not really liked very much of the entire group, and it shows. It is funny that when the fancy ripoff plays, which is Carmella's entrance theme, you actually see Enzo and Big Cass dancing in the background. I thought that was kind of funny. Excuse me. Now, I will state, this is a more aggressive version of Emma that we're used to, and she gets a lot of her high spots. She hits the dilemma, and she's doing really well, showing some fire. She kicks Carmella in the back of the head, but she gets caught with a drop toe hold into the side head scissors choke for the submission. So Carmella wins again. Not sure what this is building towards. After the match is over, Enzo tried to congratulate Carmella and pretty much got shoved for it. So yeah, we're leading towards the dissolution of Carmella and Enzo and Big Cass. My guess is Carmella's going to end up with another tag team. Don't know exactly who that would be at this point. Maybe it's somebody we haven't seen on the main roster yet. Someone we haven't seen debut in NXT yet. It's a possibility. We'll see in the near future, I'm going to guess. Excuse me. Now, this is the semifinals and the number one contender to the NXT Championship Tournament. Now, the winner of this obviously will go on to meet Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens, whomever is the NXT Champion, at a later date and time. So, to get to the finals, we have to go through the semifinals. The semifinals is Adrian Neville against Baron Corbin. Corbin tosses Neville around like a rag doll, and at one point, Neville finally gets the upper hand. He goes for the pescado. Corbin catches him and drops him over the barricade. Tosses him in. Here comes Bull Dempsey, and he attacks and posts Corbin. Tosses him in the ring about at 9, and Bull's nowhere to be found. Neville hits a slide drop kick, and the Red Arrow finishes. I didn't think he really had to pin Corbin here. I know his first pinfall loss since his re-debut is a big deal, and having it be in kind of a toss-away match. I know it's a semifinals match in a tournament for a shot at the NXT Championship, but still, it's kind of a toss-away match, and the reason why he lost was due to Bull Dempsey. So obviously this feud is far from over, and coming up at Rival tomorrow, we're going to see a no disqualification match between the two. I'm really looking forward to Rival. Should be fun. So the winner of the Finn Balor-Hideo Itami match will face off against Adrian Neville now, and Balor and Itami will be your main event, and deservingly so. Excuse me. Sammy says Kevin Owens pulled a fast one, agreeing to the non-title match, knowing full well that he wasn't going to say yes officially until he got his title shot. He got one over on me and on William Regal, so it'll never happen again. You get one over on me once, you'll have one. I'll give you one, but it'll never happen again. Savor the flavor, it'll never happen again is the right line. So Bayley's in action next against Becky Lynch, and props to Bayley, she finally got merch. So that's going to be debuting at Rival. Bayley, Sasha Banks, they both have shirts that you're going to be able to purchase, as well as Baron Corbin, and a new Sami Zayn shirt, which I will have very soon. yeah, I'm going to, I'd be, obviously, if I was at Rival tomorrow night, I would be purchasing all these shirts, but yeah. And it's weird because if you look at the pricing, the NXT shirt pricing was at $19.99, and now, if you go to WWE Shop, you can see the NXT shirt pricing is now the normal $26, so yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. A big demand for NXT merchandise, obviously. But I digress. Becky ends up getting tossed back in the ring by Sasha, trying to do her a favor, quote-unquote, and of course she gets hit with a belly to Bayley, and that's the end of that. So, Bayley watches as Becky and Sasha argue yet again. They shove each other. Charlotte comes out, Bayley's on the top of the ramp, and there's a four-way stare-down to build to the fatal four-way match for the NXT Women's Championship that's going to happen tomorrow. Should be fun. I do think Bayley is possibly walking out with the championship, if not Sasha Banks. Bayley or Banks will walk out with the championship. New merch power wins every single time. So yeah, I think that's going to happen. I should have realized when Charlotte had that new shirt that she was going to win, but new merch powers completely, eluded me in my mind, apparently. So, we get an affirmation and a confirmation from Kevin Owens saying, yeah, Sammy was right, I wasn't going to sign the contract until it was for the championship. He got what he wanted, and 2 months to the day of his official debut at our Evolution, he's going to take the NXT Championship. Well, that, of course, remains to be seen. There's going to be a rematch for the NXT Tag Team Championships. The Lucha Dragons getting their rematch against the Dubstep Muscle Laser Guns, which, of course, are Blake and Murphy. And apparently, Tyler Breeze is going to watch the tournament closely. He's talking to Devin in the back. And he pretty much ends the interview. We find out later on there is actually going to be a match for Tyler Breeze on the Rival show, and it's going to be against Hideo Itami. Yeah, a rematch from their tournament match, which was spectacular a couple weeks ago. Really curious to see how that goes over. Speaking of the tournament, let's talk about the finals. Hideo Itami and Finn Balor, former tag team partners, colliding, and the internet exploded. I remember when I heard about this match happening, and there was actually a tweet that was sent out, and then it said, don't click here if you want to be spoiled, but this just happened. And you click on it, it's literally a picture of Balor on one side, Itami on one side, and they're ready to do battle. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. So let's talk about this match, shall we? Winner faces Adrian Neville to determine who's the #1 contender to Sami Zayn in the NXT Championship. Unless Sami Zayn drops the title to Kevin Owens, and then all bets are off. So, let's go midway through the match, shall we? Because I like this match a lot. This match was fun. Neville with a chin lock on Itami, elbows his way out, comes off the ropes, catches the back elbow, 1-2, Itami kicks out. Snapmare and grounded abdominal stretch, rolled up into a crucifix pin, but only gets a 1 count out of it. So he charges in, eats the boot. Itami goes up on the middle turnbuckle, and Balor with a high kick gets a 2 off of that. We come back to live action and they're trading forearms. Itami ducks the back elbow, hits the Kenta Rush, into the whip kicks into the corner, hesitation drop kick, and comes off the ropes, goes for the kick. Balor puts on the brakes, I gotta get used to that. He hits the sling blade and shotgun drop kick, sends the back of Itami's head into the middle buckle, and it looked vicious as all get out. Goes up top, hits the coup de grace, and gets the 3 count. So we are going to get Finn Balor against Adrian Neville in the finals of the NXT #1 contender tournament to determine who's going to face off with the NXT champion somewhere down the line. So they shake hands after the match is over, and Neville's on the announce table because he was doing commentary during the match, obviously, to scout his potential opponents. He was clapping on top of the table. A stare down with Balor, and then they finally meet on the top of the ramp. They shake hands, and that's how we go home. Obviously, we're building towards NXT TakeOver Rival, which I'm very much looking forward to. Should be a great show. Obviously, your main event, NXT Championship on the line. Sami Zayn defending against Kevin Owens. You're also going to see the NXT Tag Team Championship rematch. It is the current reigning and defending Tag Team Champions, the Dubstep Muscle Laser Guns, which, of course, are Blake and Murphy. They're going to take on Kalisto and Sin Cara. You're also going to get a Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. Charlotte defending the NXT Women's Championship against Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. It's going to be a great show. We got Hideo Itami against Tyler Breeze. Very much looking forward to that. There's a lot of great stuff. And no disqualification of Bull Dempsey versus Baron Corbin. I don't know why. I do know why. Bull keeps getting matches, but he needs to win one somehow to prolong a feud. If not, they just squash it dead like a grape. I mean, anything's possible if you want to go that direction. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the show. Tomorrow night, check it out, 8 o'clock on the WWE Network. And if you don't have the network, find another alternate means to watch it. 2 hours of NXT. It is the best wrestling WWE is bringing every single week. Obviously, it's not wrestling that has 4-hour promos. And it's not wrestling that has unbelievable characters. And they actually do have a babyface that went to the ends of the earth to finally win the big one, and he does. So yeah, the most believable babyface in the company right now, the Ricky Steamboat of this generation, Sami Zayn. So yeah, it's interesting because TakeOver Rival is taping tomorrow night in Full Sail. And like I said, if I was in town, I totally would be there. I'd find a way. Obviously, I'm never going to use that car company again, but I'd find another way to get there. That being said, Sami Zayn is on a Middle Eastern tour in Abu Dhabi, and he's going to be absent from those shows, the NXT tapings that are going to start on Thursday night. So Thursday night, there's going to be NXT tapings. So I'm going to guess that they're going to do some sort of an energy angle with Owens either taking the championship and then just brutalizing him anyway, or what makes more sense, Owens losing and then brutalizing Sami Zayn because he couldn't get the job done. You know, honestly, I know you say what you want, but I really think somewhere in this feud, whether it happens tomorrow night or not, I know a lot of people said it'll never happen. I do think we see the package pile driver in NXT. I think that Kevin Owens uses that. And if not, like I said, the pop-up powerbomb or the apron powerbomb, just the different variations he has of the powerbomb, I think those would work quite well. So yeah, we got a great show, and Finn Balor and Adrian Neville, looking forward to that. It's going to be totally awesome. This is going to be a great show, so yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out NXT, and you want to see what the big hubbub is about, then please, by all means, WWE Network, 8 o'clock on tomorrow night, so check it out. Definitely worth watching. Love NXT. Best wrestling on WWE banner, without a doubt. So now, 13 minutes in, we're going to shift into TNA Impact. Of course, this Impact was their free preview of Lockdown. Of course, Lockdown is the gimmick pay-per-view that basically has all matches inside the steel cage. And this was a 2-hour edition, obviously. This was just a live... this wasn't live, obviously. It was live to tape. This was taped a long time ago. But this is Destination America's free preview of Lockdown. And we started off the show with quite a matchup. TNA World Tag Team Championships on the line, Cowboy James Storm and the Monster Abyss defending against Matt and Jeff Hardy. And of course, the Revolution do have Koya Manic and the Great Sonata at ringside. So, Manic comes in to try to interfere early on. He eats a superplex from Matt, and smartly the Hardys cuff him to the cage so he can't do anything. So he's completely useless the rest of the match. We come back to live action, and Abyss hits the slingshot into the James Storm DDT, the old beer money spot, and they get a 2 count off of Jeff. Abyss whips Matt in and catches the sidewalk slam off the rope. Storm climbs to the top and onto Abyss's shoulders for extra spring. He dives off with the elbow, and then Abyss adds insult to injury with a big splash, and they get a 2.5 off of that. The Revolution pick Jeff up, and a double whip. Abyss charges in, he eats a back elbow. Storm charges in, he eats the forearm. Whisper in the wind to the Revolution. And Matt and Jeff with stereo Twist of Fates on Storm and Abyss. Matt with a boot to Abyss. Twist of Fate drops him. Jeff splashes Storm. Double cover 1-2 and double kick out from the Revolution. So Matt goes up top, goes for the moonsault. Storm moves out of the way. Storm climbs up the cage. Matt climbs up. They trade blows on the top rope. Twist of Fate off the top rope from onto Cowboy James Storm, and here comes Koya. He pulls Matt Hardy through the camera hole to the floor, whips him into the barricade, and then tosses him into the cage. And the announce team actually covered it quite well because Matt didn't go over the top or go through the cage door, so the Hardys do not win. Also, they covered their bases by saying that he didn't go in on his own volition. But then again, in Battle Royals and in Royal Rumbles, I do know that you can get eliminated by someone that was eliminated from the match or someone's not even involved in the match. It just depends on how they want to work the storyline. It works. So, the Great Sonata comes in and starts pounding away on Matt on the floor. Jeff with a boot in and Twist of Fate to Abyss while they're in the ring. He takes off his shirt, he climbs up. Sonata climbs up, he blows the blue mist into the face, and this walks him right into the last call super kick, and that's the end of that. Revolution retain the TNA World Tag Team Championships. So, Storm and Koya set up a table. Matt tries to fight his way out of it, and Koya ends up Raideen bombing him through that table, so lays him out. Storm gets another table from under the ring, he puts it into the ring, Abyss and Storm set it up, and Abyss finally uses his monster Herculean grip to break the cuffs on Manic, so Manic is now available to do some damage to the Hardys here. So they put Jeff on the table, Manic gets up to the middle turnbuckle, goes for the frog splash, Hardy moves out of the way, Jeff starts pinballing Abyss and Storm, hitting punches and drop kicks, and then finally Jeff climbs up and Sonata ends up trying to stop him by grabbing the foot. Jeff kicks him off, and at this point, Storm grabs the bull rope. Abyss shakes the cage door, and Hardy gets crotched on top of the cage door. Storm climbs up to the top, uses the cowbell portion of the bull rope, and pops Jeff Hardy right in the top of the head. He flips off, lands on the top of the ring steps with a sickening thud, and he's done. He's down and out. And obviously we're talking last week about how we needed something to get Jeff Hardy off the UK tour. Well, that makes sense now. So yeah, it's interesting to see where we go with this. Obviously Jeff is out of action for the foreseeable future. I'm not aware if Jeff is going to be working the Universal Orlando tapings, which are going to be starting on 2 days from today, on Thursday, but it's funny because they're literally going to be running NXT tapings in Winter Park, and they're going to be running TNA tapings in Orlando, so yes, wrestling takes over Florida yet again, gotta love that. I wish I could be there right now. I don't know which one I would choose. Maybe I'd do one of each, yeah, I'd do like an NXT day, and then, because it cost me $4 million to get there, and then I'd do Impact, because it's right at Universal, and I'd obviously be there anyway. So after this is over, they're trying to check on Jeff, and Matt tries to check on his brother, and Storm just kicks him in the face for whatever reason. They go to celebrate, and of course, we are the Revolution, and there is always room for one more. Like I said, the Haunted Mansion mentality. There's always room for one more. So yeah, good match. I enjoyed it. Good tag team match. Good opening contest. Good way to kick off Lockdown. I will say right now that it may have potentially been something... Well, I know, not potentially. This could have been something that could have main evented something. And this is how we kick off the show. So obviously, who knows where we're going to go from here. We're going to go downhill. We're going to go uphill. We're going to stay in the same pace. I mean, it's anyone's guess, but we'll get to that as we get to it. So the Beatdown Clan are going over strategy in the back. They have the numbers game, and MVP has an offer that Kurt Angle can't refuse. But if they do get in that cage tonight, the BDC are going to end some careers. We'll see what happens there. Obviously building towards our Lethal Lockdown main event. Speaking of the Beatdown Clan, they come to the ring, but auspicious by their absence are Samoa Joe and the X Division champion Low Ki. So it's just MVP Kenny King and their associate, who is not a member of the Beatdown Clan, even though he's a part of all the Beatdowns, Showtime Eric Young. MVP says this structure is dangerous, even more so when the BDC occupies it. It changes lives, it changes careers. Look what happened to Jeff Hardy. Like, who knows, maybe we'll never see him again. As a matter of fact, I never want to see him again. It's going to be a bad night for anyone that's in our path tonight. So Eric Young grabs the mic and he goes spastic mode. He's like, I'm going to make you bleed, Bobby Roode. And of course he says it over and over again. And it's like, okay. So MVP grabs the mic. He's like, easy there, killer. He says Bobby Roode needs to walk away. He calls out Kurt Angle specifically. Angle comes out with Gunner and with Austin Aries, of course, carrying the Feast or Fired briefcase. MVP is giving an opportunity so they can save their careers. How generous. Gunner, you need to make a good decision and save your career. Obviously, you could be world champion someday. You have that kind of skill, but if you step in the cage tonight, you're going to get it ended rather quickly. And obviously, Austin Aries, you're the most selfish man in this entire locker room. You need to worry about your briefcase and not worry about getting your hands in club business, basically. Kurt Angle has a bad knee that's put together by scotch tape, bubble gum, and a paper clip. Interesting. Interesting wording. Great wordplay from MVP right there. Very appropriate. Just walk away and, I quote, put an end to the horror, which made me laugh because he got into like Karloff voice at that point. Made me giggle a little bit. He said, you will never walk again. Angle's like, you know what? You can't back up your threats. I'm still standing here. We want to fight, and you know what? We're not going to wait till later. Let's do this now. So they all hit the ring. So Gunner gets suckered out of the ring by Kenny King, and this allows for Samoa Joe and Low Ki to jump him. So they put the arm in the cage door, and the Pillmanization of Gunner's arm becomes a reality because they slam it with a steel chair. The BDC bomb out. And when we come back from commercial, Gunner is in the trainer's room with Angle, and Angle is playing like the, it's funny because we've seen this as a parody in different movies. You know, the college coach, or like the high school football coach that says, you know what, he may be hurt, but can he still play? Can he still go? And the trainer's like, no, there's going to be like one-armed out there, and Gunner's like, not only am I going to go, I'm going to start this match and everything. I was like, yeah, he's that spirit from Gunner there. Angle goes to pitch Bobby Lashley one last time to try to get him to join his now depleted team, which is basically himself, Austin Aries, and a very, very hurt Gunner right now. So, we finally get our first matchup between Awesome Kong and Havoc. Number one, it's too short. Number two, Josh Matthews gets another line of the night when he says, when the fans are chanting better than the Divas, when they're brawling on the outside, Josh Matthews, of course, throws the haha line and says, back a long time ago, Kong was a diva. She always brought her own brand of karma. Yes. Wink, wink, yes. That's why I like TNA's commentary, because they're not afraid to talk about anything else. I like that. WWE obviously wouldn't mention TNA if someone paid them $1,000 a word or a letter at this point. But yeah, there's always that. So we pick it up when they get in the cage finally. They're both going for the choke slam. They both go for the double goozle. And Awesome Kong goes for the implant buster. She gets backed in the corner. Havoc with forearms in the corner. Havoc charges in. Kong sidesteps, and she goes headfirst into the steel cage. Two back fists, ducks the spinning back fist, and Havoc with the Harlot Slayer choke slam. Kong no-sells it, gets up, choke slam, middle rope, and of course she gets caught. Havoc climbs up, she kicks away, and Kong ends up pulling her off like a side powerbomb off the top and hits the awesome splash off the middle buckle and gets the 3 count. Like I said, very short. And I like to have seen a lot more from these two. I hope this is not the end of matches between Havoc and Kong, because they built it up so well over the last several weeks. But I do think that they really need to do more with it. They want to make it more impactful, pun not intended here. It wasn't a squash. So, I mean, there's still room for another match between these two, and I think that's what's going to happen. So, of course, we go back to last week when, due to her being a quote-unquote good girlfriend to Robbie E., Velvet Sky ended up taking the bullet, and she was the one who got fired when Robbie E.'s briefcase revealed to be the fired option. So she goes in to talk to Angelina Love, and they hug, and Velvet's all emotional, and Velvet was like, oh, I don't know how this could have happened. This was just trying to be a good girlfriend. And Angelina was like, I'll help you pack. And obviously you knew trouble was in paradise there. So Angelina's like, I'm on my own. Velvet leaves. Angelina snaps back into reality and says, finally. And then kind of like thumbs her nose at Velvet. So yeah, the beautiful people are done. And Angelina will stay with the bromans. I don't know if there's going to be another another knockout joining the bromance or not. Probably not. Maybe Madison Rayne, that'd be cool. I doubt it, though. So Kurt Angle's looking for Bobby Lashley, and of course a page shows up and says that, and says, you know what? Kurt's looking for me, I'm not hard to find, so Lashley's a man of few words. Bobby Roode's in action up next against Showtime Eric Young. Cage match, of course, because it's lockdown, everything's in a cage. Roode says, you took everything from me, I'm gonna kill you. Yay. So this is gonna get brutal. And weirdly enough, one of the first spots of the match is a high back body drop. I'm gonna kill you, but I'm gonna back body drop you first. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. It wasn't enough violence for me, given the fact that they built this up so well. EY, midway through the match, calls for something. MVP runs out with a steel chair and slides through the camera hole because they didn't learn their lesson the first time. Matt Hardy got pulled through the thing on the first match. So EY swings, and of course, he hits the side of the cage, and the reverberation of the cage kind of shakes, and he drops the chair. Goes for the Rude Bomb, gets countered. EY goes for the pile driver, double leg, slingshot. EY sent in the cage, and for some reason on the slingshot he blades. Yeah, doesn't make much sense. Overhand right when the now bleeding Eric Young stumbles back to meet the shots of Bobby Roode, and of course he gets 3 of them. The third one drops him. So he tosses him face first into the steel and hits the double R spine buster, puts him on the buckle, and then he's kind of tied up in the buckle. And, you know, if you're in a fight and you put someone on the buckle and everything, I honestly think you're just going to punch him right in the junk, but obviously that doesn't happen. So he climbs up, Roode goes for the Roode Bomb, and EY elbows out of it and sends Roode face first into the steel, knocks him off, hits the Showtime elbow, gets a 2 off of that. So EY puts the chair on the chest. More appropriately, it was kind of like the shoulder, actually. So he climbs up top. He decides to go to the middle rope instead. Bobby Roode's up, tosses the chair into the ribs, rib shot to the chair, hits him in the lower back. You are my brother, you son of a bitch, picks him up, Roode Bomb on the chair, 1, 2, 3, match over. Bobby Roode says later on in the show that when it all boils down to it, I had to do this for myself. Friendship's gone. I wanted to make Eric Young bleed. I succeeded in doing just that, and now I'm focused on getting back the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Makes sense, right? Up next, we have our handicap match, which is our semi-main in this case. It is Tyrus with Ethan Carter III taking on the team of Mandrews and Rockstar Spud. Nice continuity from JB, very lazily announcing EC3 in the corner of Tyrus. Excuse me. Should have got a drink before I started this. So Mandrews and Spud hit a double drop kick. It drops Tyrus, finally. Mandrews the front drop kick, Spud with a sliding drop kick. A step-up enziguri kick or a shining black, depending on who's calling your match, by Mandrews. They both stack on top of Tyrus and both get pressed off at one. Spud gets caught with a headbutt. Sheplex gets caught with Mandrews, and Mandrews gets Sheplex into the buckle. Literally, the exploder suplex the Sheplex into the buckle, and it looked vicious as all get out. So he goes for the powerbomb on Spud. Spud starts pounding away at the top of the head, uses the cage to try to escape, and he does just that. So the great thing is, he gets 7 kicks onto Tyrus to try to disorient him momentarily so he can climb to the top. And that's going to be your high spot here. He rips off the bow tie, so you know that he means business, and he dives off with a somersault senton after flipping off EC3, which of course is blurred out by the Destination America cameras. Finally drops Tyrus. Mandrews goes to jump. EC3 spits right in his face, and Mandrews like, oh, and he goes out and he tries to get on EC3, and of course he gets the cage slammed in his face. Because why not? Actually, no. EC3 does something better, and something more brutal. He's climbing out of the cage to try to escape, and EC3 sweeps the leg Johnny, and he hits the back of his head on the ring steps. Good God, that looked bad. Not bad in a bad way. It looked really bad. EC3 yells at Rockstar Spud, and he rakes Mandrews' face against the cage, basically daring him to come out. EC3 slams the cage door into Spud's face. Yeah, I got it, but the wrong person. Tyrus hits the Asiatic spike or the pop-up heart punch, depending on what way you get your camera angle. Probably, we're going to call it the Asiatic spike here. So, EC3 hops around, all giddy, like, it's scalping time, so it grabs the clippers, tosses him in the ring, and of course, he doesn't realize the fact that the extension cord is right next to Jeremy Borash, so Borash snips it, and he ends up getting chased out by EC3 for it. So yeah, we're building towards that, obviously. We're building towards Jeremy Borash and Ethan Carter III in an actual ring. I actually think we get EC3 versus Mandrews and EC3 versus Rockstar Spud in the UK. And I think when we get to Orlando, I think we get JB against EC3. I think that makes perfect sense to me. Main event time. War Game style. Lethal Lockdown. The Beatdown Clan. MVP, Low-Key, Samoa Joe, and Kenny King taking on the team of Kurt Angle, a one-armed gunner, and Austin Aries. Of course, heels on top as always, which means there's going to be a 2-on-1 right away. Kenny King and Low-Key start beating down Gunner. Austin Aries comes out. Samoa Joe evens the odds. Then Kurt Angle comes out, the final member of the team. MVP comes out. And basically the Beatdown Clan are on top. Lashley's music hits. He comes out. He offers a handshake. MVP shakes his hand. And he pulls him into a short arm clothesline. And Bobby Lashley is the final member of Team Angle. So at this point, BDC are getting pinballed by Lashley until the numbers game finally catch up to him. So we finally go back and forth a bit, and just as quick as that happens, Samoa Joe goes for the muscle buster. Angle scoots down the back, locks on the ankle lock. Gunner has got Kenny King in a torture rack, while Austin Aries has Low-Key in the last chancery. All this is going around inside, like around the side, and in the middle you have MVP and Lashley stare down. They finally face off. Lashley ends up hitting the murder death kill on MVP, for those of you wondering what MDK is, and he gets the 3 count. So, Angle's team wins. The Beatdown Clan kind of scurry away. Obviously, that builds to the fact that we haven't seen the last of the Beatdown Clan. Usually in a match like this would be the end of a stable, but no, I think that it's definitely going to continue. I really enjoyed Lockdown a lot. Opening tag match was fun. I think we're building towards maybe a bull rope match. A singles bull rope match with James Storm and Jeff Hardy when we get to Orlando. I think that's probably going to happen. If we don't get like a double bull rope match, like old school bull rope match, I mean, it could be really fun to see them do that. I'm looking forward to see what direction they're going to go. I think that's actually the perfect direction to go. Kong, obviously, now has a reason to get a shot at Terrence Terrell and the Knockouts Championship, and so I think that's going to happen. Bobby Roode finally finished off Eric Young, so he's moving on to challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know, at this point, where Eric Young goes with this. But I think he's probably still going to be like kind of on the outside of the Beatdown Clan if they want to continue that, and I know they're going to. Tyrus doesn't lose. Mandrews and Spud don't really lose. I mean, they lose, obviously, but this isn't the last we're going to see of this. This feud will make a lot more sense when the British boot camp interaction brings us to the UK tour. I think that makes a lot of sense that that's what's going to happen when we get those shows. Because they've already been taped, obviously. I know that. I didn't really look at the results. I do know the Great O finally shows back up and he gets that one-on-one match against Al Snow, which I'm looking forward to. A lot more of the British boot camp interaction, I'm sure, is going to be in the UK tour. And I really think when we get to Orlando, and the Orlando tapings down the line that start 2 days from today, I do think that we're going to get our JB and Ethan Carter III match. You can figure out what you want to do with that. ECW style, book the heck out of it if you want to do it that way. Surprise run-ins from people. I mean, anything's possible. Main event was fun. 20 minutes. A good, solid main event. Everybody involved was really bringing their A game. I enjoyed the way that the finish happened. You had 3 baby faces, hook 3 heels, and 3 submission holds, while you had MVP left to get decimated by the MDK from Lashley. So, last Not the last we've seen between these two, and I'm really curious to see where we go from here. It should be some fun when we get to the UK tour, which is up next, and then, of course, Orlando's after that. So, a lot of stuff to come for TNA, and like I said, it's getting better, so if you're not watching TNA, please give it a try. I mean, it might surprise you. It very well could. So, that would end another edition of the NXT and Impact videos. Is Raw returning to Pop? I'm not sure yet. I really haven't quite decided. I guess we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try to find content for Mondays, obviously, given the fact Celebrity Apprentice has got this week's video, which I'm talking about Celebrity Apprentice this coming Monday, and then next week I have that. So yeah, the day after the Oscars, we're talking Celebrity Apprentice one last time, but after that, we got nothing, so I'm looking at the calendar right now, so March 2nd will be something new on Monday, and I don't know exactly what it is, so we'll see what happens. Tomorrow's Vlog of Randomness, up in the air. Don't know exactly what it's going to be about. I guess we'll figure it out when we get a chance to. Go to YouTube if you are a Halloween Horror Nights aficionado or a fan of the show, a fan of the event itself. You can check out my conversation I had with my good friends Matt and John H.H.N. Trogdor and Psycho Massacre Films. You can check that out on YouTube. It's under Halloween Horror Nights 25 Rumors with Psycho Massacre Film, because the title's so long, so it wasn't able to really be put on there. It was a Google Hangout that we did yesterday, and it was totally awesome. 2-hour conversation. We talked about Horror Nights, and then when John had to leave early, we ended up talking a lot about Universal and like the stuff that's coming in Universal's future. Stuff like Kong, Fast and the Furious, SpongeBob, stuff like that. So check that video out. So come Thursday, we got a brand new Sip and Snack. We're going to do V8 Splash. That's going to be fun. And Friday, AJ's movie reviews, as long as everything lines up properly, is going to be Kingsman and 50 Shades of Grey. The voices will be on there. And The Shadows, I believe, is the other one. 50 Shades may get its own video. It just kind of depends on my schedule this week. And I won't know that until tomorrow. So that's pretty much that. So that being said, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook, click like on our Facebook fan page. It is Sir Owen Disney Pop. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney, and friend request me via Owen Disney on Facebook. Last but not least, if you want to talk TNA with me, you want to talk NXT with me, you talk about Halloween Horror Nights with me, it's award season where we can talk about movies. You want to do that. You have ideas for the Vlog of Randomness, please. I don't have anything right now. Sip and Snack or Versus, you're more than welcome to send those to me. Or if you'd like to become a popcaster yourself, you can send your content to my email, sirowendisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.